making a video. Yep. Wasn't going to bother, but I decided, what the hell. Yeah. As I always do. I always decide what the hell. So it's a sort of response to Hoffa Day, but not really. Just the conversation is provoking. In terms of, I've often talked about this communication problem. And he sort of made a video indicating or implying that him and Logic Roll the Dice guy really agree, and you know, that there's, you know, some other reason. Yes, it's not that they disagree, it's the reason for the disagreement. It's something else, kind of a thing. And you know, there's a certain truth to this idea that these are, you know, you don't say that, okay, like somebody like Anna Conavad or even Hoffa Day, because he says some things that are, you know, I find totally obnoxious. But I mean, there are notions in their heads, their wheels are turning, and they come to these conclusions. And they do it for a reason. I mean, it's not, you know, you can't say, well, you could say they're being deliberately dishonest. But you tend to say, nah, they're not being deliberately dishonest. So they're being stupid or wrong for some kind of reason. You know, like there's a thought in their head that somehow makes it make sense when they're not making sense. So anyway, Hoffa Day sort of brought up this idea that, you know, we migrate in terms of our philosophy, which, yes, people do tend to mature, and the edges of their philosophy might change. And even some people fundamentally change. They, you know, go from Christian to atheist or something like that. You know, perhaps late in life. So there can be substantial changes in perspective. But there almost got to be ways of thinking. There's changes in ways of thinking even. Like they weren't thinking and then you do think. You know, I mean, this logic just isn't, you can't play with logic that way. So you're either like really dumb, like ill-informed, and you didn't do anything to fix your stupidity, like being a Christian. Or, you know, there's some reason like that. There's some reason why the logic didn't fix it, where your own logical process wouldn't say, you're being a hypocrite, you're full of shit, you know, you're lying about that because you want to just blah, 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 and fill in the blank. So that's what I sort of mean by, you know, there's only two choices here. There's either you were in the past not just an asshole, but somebody who didn't understand logic at all, didn't obey it, or you're a liar. I mean, you can't be both. You know, it's one of those two things. You're either a liar, your whole philosophy was just lying to, you know, just a big pile of lie, or you weren't being logical. Because there really isn't any other choices. I can always say that, let's say, like on the subject of eating animals, when I was a meat eater, you know, in my early youth, you know, my brain, it wasn't like I couldn't see the logic of it. It's that I used rationalizations and justifications that were all around me, you know, that everybody was using, to do what I knew in my brain was just fundamentally bullshit. So in a sense, I was an asshole, I was a liar, in the sense that I wasn't doing logic. I was deliberately pretending, in a sense, that what I knew wasn't true was true or something. Because I could, you know, the hypocrisy and the duplicity was obvious. You know, because I was you know, I had pets, I knew what, you know, I was very aware of the welfare of animals. So there's just no way I couldn't have understood the hypocrisy of contributing to their enslavement and torture and, you know, eventual destruction. So anyway, this is a long way of saying that, you know, the nature of being an asshole is either being someone who isn't doing honest logic, or being someone who's, you know, dishonestly just lying, and they're just so obsessed with their selfish ambition or their desire that they just don't care about the truth. Yeah. So anyway, I will perhaps be back. Another crunchy. I go for a run, I think. I don't think I'll take this camera with me. Yeah, I just take this stupid focus thing. I hope it didn't mess it up. I always put my finger too high, and then that, you know, zooms in. Anyway, it's a nice light camera, but that is a huge disadvantage. I don't think I'll see anything on the way. You know, I hate not to take a camera with me just in case. But anyway, I'll be back. Oh, I'm back. A little out of breath, unfortunately. So, the anyway of this upper day engagement is that I'm going to essentially call bullshit on this idea of, you know, disagreeing about something in some sort of accidental way. You know, the disagreement is fundamental, and it doesn't take any logic at all. You know, to accept the fundamental premise that I'm conscious, the other organisms are conscious, and there's just no way of getting around it. To say that sentient mammals don't feel sufficiently is illogical, nonsensical rubbish, easily observed as a fact. You know, there's no point in arguing this. After they clearly, you know, slept with Immanuel Kant, and apparently it was very good, and he's never gotten over it, and so he wants to just force, you know, this idea that the only way we're going to perceive value is through some human-centric, human ego-driven, human mob rule of authoritarian totalitarianism, to use Anna Kantova's words. The totalitarianism of the human elites. You know, pretty simple. And that can't be rationally defended as true or reasonable or fact-based or evidence-based. It's just complete crap-based nonsense. We're just organisms like all the other organisms, and as far as our emotional character goes, we don't have more of it, you know, than the other sentient mammals. They are fully invested emotionally in their lives, and all they are is a little dumber. Okay, no excuse to beastize them into torture chambers. It's just bigotry and bullshit. Anyway, long way around. But yeah, you know, anybody who says that, you know, we have to accept all this nuances, you know, all this confusion, we can't know what any of this is, and ooh, it's all mysterious, woo woo. No, it's not. Evolution has been, I mean, they pretty much have made the movie. You know, we've seen it. The jig is up. All right. You're again, you know, you're a cockroach that can sing and dance. just isn't much more complicated than that. You're not even a cockroach, though. Cockroaches don't run down squirrels and chew their fur off and then eat their colon. So anyway, I mean, you know, these people are just so full of shit. Preposterous mounds of it. Just hilarious. Oh yeah, I'm confused. This is too complicated. You live on a bug planet, and some of the elitist bugs, the ones with the hidden antennas, are just pretending they're better than the other bugs. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's enough for now. We'll go add some more just to make a complete video. Not a terrible day today. Give you a weather report. It's going to rain for the next couple of days though. I have to do a bunch of work under my house. You know, I had all summer nice and dry. Never got around to it. Now I'm ready to get around to it. And it keeps wanting to rain. Ugh, damn. Oops, wrong turn. Chainsaw, I gotta put that on the list. Gotta cut that tree down. Anyway, this is bullshit walking through this crap. Yeah. Anyway, until next time, and such, and so forth and whatnot. Guess I'll add a little bit more. I've been fiddling with the website on the draft science thing. I likes it. I likes the way it's looking. Yeah. The school of fish thing. I think I'll just have a bunch of images of different fish in schools. So I added postulates there, and then we got the index, little time codes for the video and whatnot. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. I do like this picture, the swirling fish. Very atomic looking. Anyway, so but this is kind of a parallel, right? So I mean, here I am proposing this radical change, but it's just a subtle change in perception where you start, where the argument starts. So there's lots of parallels between, you know, where things get wrong-headed. You know, one wrong presumption. So I mean, you have this idea of velocity and attraction and gravity, magnetism with matter, and then you try to connect the dots. And you know, so Einstein provides a solution that, you know, creates this, you know, metaphor of bent space, of gravity wells, holes that you fall into. And it's a nice metaphor, but it's a metaphor. It's not the truth. And fish is a metaphor, but this is closer to the truth. These little fish are the photons. Anyway, the bits, the quanta. But it's just that idea that, you know, one wrong axiom, postulate, statement, you know, and everything that's built on it, you know, gets corrupted and perverted and distorted. And so, you know, in this description of life, for a lot of people, they just do the simple wrong, which is the God thing. You know, and then but you know, then logically you get rid of the God thing, but they still have all the old axioms still exist. These old notions of what's good and what's bad. These notions that, you know, because you desire something, it means it's desirable. And that's not how it works. You desire things because you've been contrived to do so, and all that has to be examined, and you have to be willing to examine it and evaluate the evidence fairly. And that's the other argument here. You know, I haven't had any fair evaluation of this argument, or I don't think there was ever a fair evaluation of evidence. You know, they had the two-slit experiment in physics, and they didn't want to dissect it. They didn't want to know the truth of it. They just they really liked the idea of waviness somehow, and everybody just wanted to jump on that. And fundamental error in understanding context and meaning. And you know, when it comes to life, like I said, it's a big, I've said before, like I have said previously, it's just this image, you know, life is flowers and birds and and people just don't tend to do the, you know, it's parasitic machines designed to slaughter each other, to steal energy from each other, to just do this perpetual swim, swim, die, die, swim, swim, die, die, over and over and over again. Kill, kill, die, die. Kill, kill, die, die. That's all things are doing on Earth. That's all these machines are designed to do, is to become very efficient at stealing energy, and then getting out of the way, letting the new model take over. So anyway, so in that context, like, you know, it's all context, but I mean, it's just this idea of you know, the process that'll get you to the truth, and the process is something like fairness. You have to be fair to the evidence that exists, and you have to evaluate it without a bias. And that's the game. And I think if you examine life, examine the game we're playing without bias, you know, it's clear. It violates lots of logical rules. The imposition argument right from the start. It's a dilemma. It's a problem. You can't overcome it. Just because you like apple pie, you should force somebody else to eat it. Because you think life is good enough, you should force somebody else to have your standards. That right on its face fails as logic. So anyway, I mean, you know, like I said, you just get into all the biological evidence and the evidence from deluded psychology. You know, psychology that wants to play, that wants to win. Psychology that doesn't want to accept that, you know, they're in Las Vegas and they don't want to hear the, you know, the house always is going to win in the end. That's where all those, that's you know, the jet planes you see leaving with all the, they're going to take your money. That's how they bought all that crap, is that they take your money. And they just don't want to hear it. But anyway, no. They're special. Their mission is special. So anyway, enough of video. So anyway, I'll leave a link to the Draft Science channel. I mean the website. And I'm liking it, and we'll keep working on it.